What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Sunday so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about what the Brooklyn Nets are looking forward to seeing from the young 26-year-old small forward Mikal Bridges, whom they acquired in that trade at the trade deadline a week and a half ago from the Phoenix Suns. And that is, they want their young player, Mikal Bridges, to build off the kind of performance that he was displaying over with Phoenix this past season, as well as they want to see Mikal Bridges continue to evolve into the star that he is slowly starting to become with the Brooklyn Nets. Now, as we all know, Mikal Bridges right now, he's coming off an incredible appearance, a credible performance that he had against the Miami Heat on the Nets' last basketball game they played on Wednesday of last week, where he dropped 45 points in that 116-105 victory over the Heat at the All-Star break, and he shattered his previous career high of 34 points that he scored before, and he's also on a preposterous efficiency of 83.1% right now. His performance was the latest in what has been a breakout scoring campaign for him, where he was averaging only 14.2 points last year in 2021-2022. He has now upped that to 17.6. So he went from averaging 14 points per game, where now he's averaging about 18 points per game. And he's had 7 of his 10 career high regular season scoring games this past time with the Phoenix Suns and Brooklyn Nets this season. And the 23 points he scored on Saturday, and in the narrow loss against the Philadelphia 76ers, and then the 45 he scored before, have given him the newfound opportunity with the Brooklyn Nets. Because now, he went from being pretty much a supported player over there with Phoenix, and now he's become a primary player with the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, you could argue with Phoenix, he was arguably the third or fourth best player on the team, or third or fourth go-to guy on the offensive side for the Phoenix Suns, where he didn't have to average a lot of points. I mean, he could have tallied, could have scored around 20, 17, 18 points per game, maybe less. He tallied at least 21 points in each of his final 6 games with the Phoenix Suns and 11 of his last 13. So he was starting to get the ball into the basket. And over his past 18 games, including 3 with Brooklyn, he's averaging 22.7 points and 60.4% shooting overall. So he's averaged about 23 points per game in his last 18 games. So this is not a fluke that he's just only doing it, on a certain amount. He's starting to really evolve into like one of the top players. And he's also a guy that doesn't miss a lot of time before. He's also, before the trade, averaging a career high 29% of his shots were unassisted, which means he was pretty much able to go iso ball and go one-on-one and get to the basket. And of course, get to the boards, get offensive rebounds, do well against the pick and roll, and also be able to start hitting that mid-range shot from the wings. And he'd be able to deal with post-up mismatches against smaller defenders on the other side. This guy is starting to evolve into the basketball player that maybe some would thought they were seeing when he was coming out of Villanova. He's becoming a very good two-way player right now. Also, Bridges is also assuming an even bigger ball handling role with the Brooklyn Nets. Outside of Spencer Dinwiddie, nobody on the Nets starting lineup creates as often as Bridges. Even when he expands out of everybody in the entire rotation, only Cam Thomas joins Dinwiddie above him. And he's a reserve playing, and that's Cam Thomas is only a reserve playing 20-ish minutes a night. Mikal Bridges is becoming very good when it comes to ball handling as well. We know how great he is defensively. This guy was a phenomenal defensive player. He was the runner-up for the Defensive Player of the Year last year, where Marcus Smart ended up winning the Defensive Player of the Year last year. Mikal Bridges was second, so we know how great of a defensive player he is. In fact, just going more in depth on it, Not only is this solely about the autonomy about Bridges teams presenting him, individually, he's become much less tepid and amped up his aggression. There's a diligence, assurance in how he hunts shots now, far less wired to solely finish plays or keep the ball movement flowing. When something is schemed for him or he senses it creates, he strikes. He's at a career-high 33% of his field goals are pull-up jumpers, and substantial spike from last season where he averaged about 24.5%, about 25% in pull-up jumpers, compared to 33% now. And those numbers are nearly identical to pre- and post-trade as well. It was about 30% as a member of the Suns, and it's about 34% with Brooklyn. And one of the more notable limitations are the initiator and his handle, where he's got that 6'6" frame and 7'1" wingspan, and he spirals around defenders and reaches where he wishes to venture. He surveys the floor before attacking. His 7.5 drives per game blow past last season's career high of 4.4. A year prior, he was 3.5, about 4 drives per game. He is more doubled than clipped in the span of 2 seasons, and an indicator of his heightened assertiveness. And given his physical tools, his mid-range comfort and elevated release point, bothering his intermediate pull-ups is quite challenging. He's also dishing out some physicality rather than neutralized by offensively. The blueprint for virtually everything he's doing with the Nets arose in Phoenix this season. It merely referred to him nowadays. Bridges is emerging as one very, very good young offensive player right now for the Brooklyn Nets. It's a beautiful thing to see. This kid is starting to get more aggressive on the offensive side of the court, and he's starting to evolve the rest of the game and become more confident in his mid-range shooting. He's becoming more aggressive to the basket. He's being able to deal with the iso ball in the middle of the court. And this guy is starting to tap in to the rest of his offensive potential. Also, on the break, his length and keen recognition of space overwhelms defenders en route to his layups and dunks. When someone else commandeers the half-court offense, his spot-up prowess, 40.7% on a catch-and-shoot triples this season, ensures he remains in a prominent threat. If defense is fully committed to prevent his quality outside looks, he similarly adapts burning closeouts. In series of words that keep popping up, the Suns utilized all of these traits for years. Early on, the Nets are doing the same, and he routinely fascinating easy chances. And Bridges is only 26 years old. The prime of his career is beginning. So the Brooklyn Nets, I think, are getting a player that is in the prime of his career. And this guy is starting to hit his stride as an offensive player. We already know how good he is defensively. But offensively, he's starting to hit his stride as a player. And it did not start with the Brooklyn Nets in these past 3 games. He started doing this in Phoenix this past season. This is a new era for the Brooklyn Nets. And it's right now kicked off by the incredible play so far of Mikal Bridges. This dude is evolving into a top-level player in the NBA defensively, and now he's even starting to put it together offensively. This is why one of the biggest reasons why I was not as disappointed with the Kevin Durant trade. Because you got another good player in Cam Johnson who can also consistently knock down the 3 and can occasionally drive to the basket and get rebounds. And as a solid defensive player with good length. Mikal Bridges was the key to me because this kid was starting to emerge as a top-level player in the NBA. And now since he's come to Brooklyn, he's averaging about 23-24 points per game, but he already started to blossom as an offensive player, and he's only 26 years old. He's only going to get better. He's locked up to a deal with the Brooklyn Nets for at least the next 3-4 years. So the Nets can continue to tap into this kid's potential as they go into the rest of the season. And it's a beautiful thing to see that this kid is evolving into one of the best young players in the NBA going forward. And I'm only curious to see what more this kid is going to be able to do as we continue into the NBA season. He's only going to get better. He's only going to get better. And I can't wait to see what this kid is going to do. He's just one of the young players on this Brooklyn Nets team that is going to continue to evolve his game, get better offensively, get better defensively, just get better overall. And it's only a matter of time until this kid potentially develops into an all-star. Because we've already seen glimpses of it with Phoenix. We've obviously seen it a couple of times with Brooklyn. The Nets are going to try to circle their offense or revolve their offense around Mikal Bridges going forward. Because they feel like he could develop into that number one scorer for the offense. And it's not out of the question that this kid can start to turn into one of the better young two-way players in the NBA. Because he's not just a scorer right now as well. He's a phenomenal defensive player. You don't become runner-up for the Defensive Player of the Year if you're not really good. We know how good he is defensively. And I am sure that Phoenix was very, very reluctant to give up Mikal Bridges in this trade. But they knew if they wanted to get Kevin Durant, they had to trade Bridges. And that's exactly what ended up happening. And oh, what a beautiful thing it is seeing this young kid evolve into one of the better young players in the NBA. I love it. And I cannot even imagine how much better this kid could get as he continues to learn the NBA game even more. I think there's still more that could come to the table for Mikal Bridges. I think he could still continue to get better. How much better? Not sure. But I think he's going to continue to get better as a player as we go on. But right now, this kid is giving you that display of why the team acquired to him so badly at the NBA trade deadline for Kevin Durant. And I think he's just only going to get better as we continue into the rest of the season and into next season and beyond. But you guys let me know in the comment section what you think. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Sub up to NYG Jeffy T85. More videos, news, shorts on the Brooklyn Nets. And turn on the bell for notifications of the next video or short dropping about the Brooklyn Nets. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the evolution of Mikal Bridges and what you expect this kid to do going into the rest of the season and into next season. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Take it easy and let's go Brooklyn Nets. It's a Nets world, and we're all just living in it.